Cunol, the brand I trust.
Focus. Marines and family members stationed to Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, for at least 30 days from August 1953 to December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with birth defects, or been diagnosed with fertility issues or more, significant compensation may be available. Call Legal Injury Advocates now to discuss your case. It has been proven that the water at Camp Lejeune during those years was extremely contaminated with toxic chemicals. Legal Injury Advocates has extensive experience helping you to get the maximum compensation you deserve. Don't wait until it's too late. See if you qualify today. You're not alone in this fight, and there are no upfront costs to begin your journey to justice. The call is completely free, and we're available 24 hours a day. Call Legal Injury Advocates to discuss your case now.
Call 1-800-885-1177 or visit www.lia.legal. That's 1-800-885-1177. Call now.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Eucora. Help maintain a healthy urinary tract with Eucora.
I've been having UTIs for 10 years.
At Eucora, we make UTI relief products. We also make proactive urinary tract health products.
Eucora is a lifesaver.
Try today at eucora.com.
You are in the CNN Newsroom. I'm Allison Camerata in New York. Divers are back in the water at the site of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. It's now a recovery operation. The 6 missing construction workers who were on the bridge when a container ship slammed into one of its support columns are presumed dead. And the search for answers is also underway. Investigators from the NTSB returned to the ship this morning. The chair of the NTSB says she thinks they'll have more information very soon.
Right now, we do have the data recorder, which is essentially the black box. We've sent that back to our lab to evaluate and begin to develop a timeline of events that led up to the strike on the bridge. And we hope to have that information to share with the public later today.
Okay, let's go to the scene right now. That's where we find CNN's Gabe Cohen. So, Gabe, what is going to happen today?
Well, Allison, it's a very important day for investigators. We know that 24 NTSB investigators are here. They have been on the Dolly, that massive container ship, and they have been speaking with the crew, as well as collecting all of those electronics that they can find, including that data recorder you mentioned, essentially the black box of the ship. They are analyzing it right now at a federal facility, and they're hoping by later today they're going to be able to release a little bit better timeline on how this played out and what caused this catastrophe, this total blackout in the moments before the collision, when the pilot of that ship lost power, lost the ability to steer the vessel, eventually leading to the crash into the column of the bridge and causing the collapse. We also know that Coast Guard investigators are looking at the potential of more than 1 million gallons of hazardous material, a diesel material that is potentially poured out into the Patapsco River from the ship. Not to mention, we're starting to hear about efforts to eventually move the ship, move those massive pieces of steel, but that is going to take a lot of time, Allison. That is not a today issue right now. They are focused on that search and recovery as well as the investigation I just laid out.
Gabe, let's talk a little bit more about the distress that this boat was in right before it hit the bridge, because we know there was a Mayday call. Can you just help us understand, who does that call go to? Why were the construction workers who are now presumed dead still on the bridge?
So that Mayday call went out from the folks on the vessel, from the crew of the vessel. I don't know exactly how it played out, but it managed to reach first responders pretty quickly. Police were notified, and that's why within minutes, if not seconds, they were able to stop traffic to the bridge, keep any cars from getting onto the bridge. I have listened to radio traffic from around that time early yesterday morning, and you can hear police officers saying they have stopped traffic, but then they're alerted that there could be this construction crew on the bridge. You can hear an officer say they're waiting for just a moment and they're going to go up and notify that construction crew. But it was an issue of seconds, not minutes here. Within 30 seconds, the bridge collapsed, and of course, those 8 people went into the water, 6 of whom are still missing and presumed dead.
So, Gabe, what have you learned about those victims?
Well, we're starting to learn more about their identities. We are learning about a man named Miguel Luna. He was a father from El Salvador. We've just gotten a photo into CNN. He had lived in Maryland for more than 19 years. We've also learned about 38-year-old Maynor Sandoval, an immigrant from Honduras. He had lived here nearly 20 years as well. He was a father of 2, an 18-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. And Allison, hearing from families, friends, members of the Baltimore community, people are devastated and they really want that closure. And right now, those search and rescue crews are out there still carrying out this recovery operation, but conditions are starting to get worse. The rain is picking up conditions on the water. The waves are choppy. Visibility is low, and they're covering a wider and wider area because of the currents potentially moving things around, a lot of debris in the water. So their job is very difficult. We understand Maryland's governor is out right now with those search and rescue crews. It is a time that they are trying to complete this recovery, but it could take time.
Yeah. Gabe Cohen, thank you very much for being there and for the reporting. Let's bring in CNN's Tom Foreman. So, Tom, take us through what we know at this point.
What we know in the searching process is that this is extremely dangerous work. Look, this is a big catastrophe scene underwater, every bit and more complex than it is above the water. The divers who were in there, as noted yesterday, they said there was a tremendous amount of debris down there. There are various things that you can even see here, the threat of metal down below, wires down below, things that divers can get hung up on that can catch them, that can sever their air lines, can be all sorts of problems for divers down below here. The front of the ship, in both cases, you can see how much is up here. And again, below the water, even worse. Here's an important thing to bear in mind, too. We've talked about the water depth out here. 40 to 60 feet. It's cold, dark when you get down very far at all, full of silt and other debris. The other thing is this is not to scale. In some places, even in the channel, and this is off the channel a little bit, there's only 3 feet of clearance, which would mean way, way, way down here. So we don't know what the actual situation is when they try to get under the ship, the danger of things falling off the ship moving. So the dangers here really are quite immense, Allison, as they try to do this search.
That really puts it in perspective, Tom, how treacherous it is.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, because it's so dark and filled with silt, how can the searchers be sure that they're not missing something?
You know, our friend Gabe just alluded to it there. This is really the key problem here. If you take a look at this from above, this is an environment that is full of movement. It's very kinetic. The tides are coming and going. The weather here has been all over the map for recent weeks, and it is right now. So that's causing things. There's the flow of the river coming down here. So think about this. This ship is the size of 3 football fields in length. The bridge is 1.5 miles. Even if you could restrict the search to just that far out, and I don't think you can after this much time, even if you could restrict it to that, just imagine yourself walking up to the end of a football field that then stretches 1.5 miles, and it's dark and you have a flashlight. How long does it take you to find one specific thing out in that field? It's very, very difficult. And with all of those threats, that's why this is such a problem right now. And you widen it out and you look at the entire area there. This is a huge and very dangerous job, Allison.
Those divers are so important and courageous. Tom Foreman, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's bring in Marissa Geldert-Murphy. She's the president of the American Society of Civil Engineers. Marissa, thank you so much for being here. So many of us who are not civil engineers were stunned at how fast that bridge collapsed. I mean, just, it was like a house of cards once that structure was hit, just how how wide the damage was. Were you surprised?
Well, unfortunately, we saw a similar collapse on the Sunshine Skyway Bridge in 1980 when a ship struck that bridge as well. So to say I'm surprised, of course, we want our systems and our bridges to withstand all the conditions that they're subjected to, but we have to look at what extreme conditions they'll be subjected to. And let's face it, these container ships are a much larger load than we had ever anticipated back when this bridge was originally designed. So we have to rely now on NTSB and others who are going to look at this failure and determine whether we need to change our approach, our design approach in the future on bridges such as this. It's not surprising, but we will learn from it, certainly.
Well, Marcia, how could we change the approach? What would this change?
It's going to have to be a collaboration of things. We are going to have to look at, do we need to look at design changes? Do we need to look at navigation changes along the navigable waterways in addition to design changes? Let's face it, what it would cost for a bridge to take a head-on collision from a load such as this would not be practical for us to be able to design structures like this. So it has to be a combination of design factors and navigation changes, which is too early for us to really determine what they look like now. We're in the middle of doing the investigation through NTSB and others, and we will make sure as civil engineers that we take to heart what we learned from this so that it never happens again. Civil engineers take as paramount the health, safety, and welfare of the public. It breaks our hearts. It's devastating to see something like this and to know that we have lost 6 people due to this accident.
Yeah. And one of the things that I had read, Marcia, is that maybe the support columns could have had more buffer around them, more cushion around them somehow. Do you think that would help?
Well, there's certainly systems such as fenders that are designed to protect the bridges, and we have to know how are those surviving in these conditions. You know, they're subject to corrosion, certainly, and I can't speculate on that. You know, we'll have to find out as the investigation progresses. But there are systems that can be used. But once again, I cannot stress enough that we have to understand that these new ships
I think that we're having technical issues with Marcia. We really appreciate her expertise. Okay, still ahead this hour, the massive economic impact this disaster could have. We're going to speak with the Baltimore City Council president. With less than 5 months away until the Democratic convention, the Biden campaign is bringing out the star power. We have some new reporting on how involved the Obamas will be. Also, shares of Donald Trump's social media company were selling so fast yesterday they had to pause trading on Tuesday. Will this be another blockbuster day? And what's making them sell so fast? You're live in the CNN Newsroom.
My fellow citizens, you need to be better at being normal. When you're not normal, it makes me want you to be dead. So, be better at being normal. Yep, good.
The Regime, streaming exclusively on Max.
Mornings. Cough? Congestion?
I'm feeling better. All in one and done with new Mucinex Kickstart.
Headache?
Better now.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all in one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. It's comeback season.
It's time. Yes, the time has come for a fresh approach to dog food. Every day, more dog people are deciding it's time to quit the kibble and feed their dogs fresh food from the farmer's dog. Made by vets and delivered right to your door, precisely portioned for your dog's needs. It's an idea whose time has come.
Lumify? It's kind of amazing. Wow. My go-to is Lumify eye drops.
Lumify dramatically reduces redness in 1 minute. And look at the difference.
My eyes look brighter and whiter
for up to 8 hours.
Lumify really works. See for yourself.
And Doug.
Hello, Ghostbusters. It's Doug. Of Doug and Limu. We help people customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual.